Welcome back to Smell the Roses. I'm Raquel. Today's episode delves into a story that explores social media, ethics, power dynamics, and self reflection. It's about how one day in the life video turned into a teaching career ending and what we all can learn about influence, boundaries, and responsibility. We'll cover the facts of the case, dig into the underlying issues, teacher power and social media, student privacy, and being on camera, and end with practical takeaways you can apply in your own life. All right. So please sit back, breathe, and let's smell the roses in a moment that's messy, real, and instructive. Here are the basic facts. On her first day working as a substitute teacher at DeSoto County Schools in Mississippi, I believe her name is Mayada Borders, filmed a day in the life video and posted it on TikTok. All right. So I'm going to read this article, and then show a video. And I want you all to tell me what you all think about it down in the comments. Okay. So this article that I'm reading today um, comes from, oh, here, Super Talk Mississippi Media. Okay. This happened in Mississippi. Um, and the title of this article is DeSoto County Substitute Teacher Fired for Calling Student Shorty in a Viral TikTok Post. Now, okay. So I'm going to read this first and then we'll click on the video that they have linked in the article. Okay. So it says, a substitute teacher in DeSoto County was terminated after a TikTok video filmed during her first day on the job went viral, showing her recording students and referring to one as shorty, a slang term that is an informal reference used to describe a young woman or girl. The teacher, identified as 24-year-old Mayada Borders, had been placed at Lake Coramont High School by staffing agency Kelly Services. Shouts out to you, Kelly Services. I mean, really, what a way to throw someone under the bus. The video, which has been viewed more than 2 million times, shows boarders walking through school hallways and a pep rally while filming students and narrating remarks that drew criticism online. Damn, shorty. Sheesh, man. I got to get up after these school kids trying to take me down. I don't think that's exactly what she says in the video, but nice try on the interpretation. What's this lady's name? Jill Sanchez. Come on, Jill Sanchez. We know you understand Ebonics with the last name Sanchez. Come on now. But yeah, so she says this in a video. We're going to see that. And then it says, in a statement shared with WREG TV, DeSoto County Schools said district officials informed Kelly Services today that the person is no longer allowed to be a substitute teacher for DeSoto County Schools. Borders later addressed the controversy in a TikTok, saying she did not realize filming students was prohibited. And here is a quote from her. She said, I had absolutely no idea I could record students. I couldn't record students, or else I wouldn't have done it, she said. Right. The incident has reignited the debate about educators' use of social media and student privacy in the classroom and comes as DeSoto County school officials continue to face scrutiny surrounding the behavior of local teachers. Last week, former Hernando coach and youth pastor Lindsay Whiteside was indicted on federal crime charges. Whiteside, who worked in the same county as Borders, was charged with multiple counts related to sexual exploitation of minors. So this is a problem in Mississippi, right?
We got a new hustle unlocked. I'm a school teacher now. Little breakfast. Let's get the day rolling. Who would have ever thought? Yes, ma'am. Have a good day. Today was really a breeze. My kids ain't have to do too much, man. I really, to be honest, I let them do whatever they want to do. Yes, I'm that type of teacher. Took me a little lunch break. Yeah, they got it going on at this joint. They stay bound, okay then. Damn, shorty. Sheesh. Man, I gotta get up out these school kids trying to take me down, man. Then I look so young, I look like one of them.
Really? I mean, she didn't think any of this was inappropriate as she's uploading it to her TikTok? I mean, you guys, we have to consider that the things that we post, we don't know whether they are going to go viral or not. That's scary, right? It says a lot too about her not understanding time and place. I know I talk about that a lot, but it's just like, girl, really? Oh my God. So the story is more than just a teacher fired for TikTok, right? There's several issues worth reflecting on here, okay? And just off of the rip, right? There's the power dynamics and professional boundaries, right? So, as a teacher or substitute, you should hold a position of authority and trust. The students are minors and they're in your care. So, you need to really, sorry, here it is. You need to really, like, guard yourself against saying inappropriate things or doing inappropriate things because you have little eyes watching you, right? And then filming them, especially without their consent and without their parents' consent, changes the whole nature of the relationship. Um, in this situation with this lady, um, it goes from educator to creator, and it's like they didn't sign off to be in your on your TikTok, right? And there should be, you should know that there are different rules to content creating than there are for education, right? Like, I don't send my son to school to be on your TikTok. And if I find out that my son is on your TikTok and used for your content, I'm going to be pissed. Like, period. Okay. So then the other thing is social media culture versus institutional norms. Okay. So again, time and place. We live in an era where, you know, first day of work, behind the scenes videos are trendy, but what works on TikTok doesn't always align with institutional norms, especially when minors are involved or when privacy and consent are at stake. Okay. The video treated the classroom like a backstage vlog rather than a protected environment. Annoying. Okay, annoying that this 24-year-old, her mother and her father should be very ashamed of her. Shame upon her mother and her father for not teaching her these simple principles of just time and place. Okay, she might not ever have children, and that's fine, but if you're going to be a teacher, you at least need to know how to guard the children against things that are inappropriate. Clearly, TikTok, with all of the mess that's on there, doesn't align with an educational institution unless it's college and this is around some kind of college course on social media. This is weirdo behavior, okay? Weirdo. And then there's the student privacy and consent piece of this. Recording minors without parental or institutional consent raises serious ethical and legal concerns, dummy. Even if a teacher believed she was just filming, the context matters. The film subject, a female student, looked uncomfortable to many viewers. Yes, she looks confused as to what she's seeing. It looks like she's trying to understand if this is a boy or a girl, and also like, what are you looking at and why are you looking at me that way? And I didn't want to show their faces, but the faces of the student in particular, the one that everybody keeps saying is the reason why she got fired. I think it's important to see what she's doing and how it comes off. It comes off as if she is uncomfortable. Like, and I heard other content creators when they were talking about this. I don't know if it was Go Cree or Pink Book Lessons, but look at how she's dressed. She had that big chain on. Um, Let me scroll back up. Like, can you see her? Yeah, she has this big chain on. She's not, she does look relatively young, but just looking at her, would you know if whether or not she was a girl or a boy? You wouldn't know that. So, yeah, and also the use of the term shorty. She's a young lady. She shouldn't be objectified in a sexual way yet. Inappropriate to be referring to an adolescent as a shorty. She's not 18 plus. Okay, so that was just weird, right? And in that context, it triggered backlash. Slang like this is affectionate in some contexts, like, when guys say, yo shorty, what's up with you, girl? It's usually like to push up on you, to date you, to court you, and her apology was just way off base. Okay. And there was like a Reddit thread that said she recorded a female student and called her shorty, and then said, geez, she was flirting with an underage student. So that is the way it came across. Totally sketchy, very sketchy. And then there's the creator identity versus educator identity. Borders described herself as a content creator with 100K followers. When that identity intersects with a teacher role, there's a tension. A creator's goals, views, engagement versus an educator's responsibilities like safety and professionalism are headbutting each other. And it begs the question, when you take on a role of responsibility, what happens when your side hustle or social media presence exposes you to a conflict of interest? No doubt. No doubt. Bringing your TikTok into the classroom was a clear conflict of interest. We got to stop that. Like when I was doing my research and I was trying to figure out like, what are the 5 things that are just like way off with this? Why is it just bigger? Why is it just bigger than my neighbors are tripping? Why is it just bigger than how she's making it seem, on in her half-ass apology? Like, when I saw her, all these videos that she posted to combat what everybody was saying in the comments because they were eating her up. It was like, no, you just don't understand in how many ways you violated the school, the system, the children, the parents. Like, you have no freaking idea that you are tripping. Okay. And then here's the last part: instant visibility and the consequences that come with it. Because I'm pretty sure as she was posting all these videos during the day, you never know the second that you're the one going viral. It kind of hits you after the fact, but the virality of the video amplified the consequences, right? Because since all of us were catching wind of it, of course we're like, what school is this? What county is this? You know, who the hell is this lady? And we're investigating her because we're wondering, like, how did this egregious thing happen, right? And what may have been a mistake, right? It's just a little mistake, even though this wasn't little, became a public spectacle. So now it's not just her embarrassed, now it's the student, now it's the school, now it's the county, now it's the state. It's like all of these things, she's triggered all of this mess because of TikTok. It's so bad. It's so bad. Um Yeah. So, young lady, your behavior, um, it, it just changed everything. And it raises both caution and the need for awareness. Teachers, young professional teachers, do not bring your social media into the freaking classroom. Just don't do it. While you're at work, you shouldn't be thinking about your social media. You should just be thinking and concentrating on your kids. Maybe on your lunch break, you check your social media. You might post your lunch or, the fact that you went to the gym or something, but you keep the freaking TikTok, Instagram, all that shit out of the classroom. These kids are on TikTok. It's just so irresponsible. So, before we dive into the takeaways that I've put together, we need to pause and ask ourselves these questions. If I were in the position of responsibility, a teacher, a manager, a coach, a parent, how would I handle filming and recording in that space? Where are the freaking boundaries? Do my online I does do my online and real life role align, right? Does me professionally align with what I do here on YouTube is what I always am asking myself. If I'm professional in a field with high trust, legal, medical education, am I mindful of how I represent myself online? I ask myself that every time I send a chat, a super sticker. I have my live shows. I have opinions on things. I don't speak on all of my opinions because I know that this is not the space for that. Maybe I say it to my husband. Maybe I talk about it with my son. But there are just some things that online I just don't freaking talk about. Okay. It's just, come on. Another question. How aware am I of the audience in my recordings? As I'm getting to know my community, I know what is going to be a hot button subject or topic, right? It's just part of my job in nurturing this community, right? And are the people involved who cannot or should not consent, like, are people that are watching me minors? Like, the one thing I used to like when Kevin Samuels, what he would do when people would call, he would ask them, "Are you 18? Like, what's your age?" And if you were 17, he'd be like, "You're not old enough. You need to call back in a year." Because it matters. Yes, you might be listening, but no, I'm not going to make you part of the conversation because you are a minor and it is inappropriate. He was teaching us something: etiquette, professionalism. And then also, because as a content creator, you want your content to get visibility and connect to your audience. So when I'm craving visibility, like views, likes, and follows, do I check whether the content aligns with my values and responsibilities? Yes, I always do that. And then finally, when things go viral, positive or negative, how prepared am I to face public scrutiny, accountability, and potential consequences? I always talk about, I keep things politically correct because I don't want to offend anybody at my job. They could be watching me. I've worked very hard for my career. I take my career serious. I'm proud of it. This is like an extension of that. My YouTube channel is an extension of my career because this helps me with my public speaking, my leadership skills. So, let's just take a moment to consider these, right? We need to pause right here for some freaking reflection. But okay, now let's pull out what you can take away from this story, whether you're an educator, a creator, or someone striving for personal improvement. There are lessons here. Number one, define your role and stick to its ethics. Whether you're a teacher, coach, manager, whatever, make your role clear. If you have a public creator identity, make sure you're not mixing the two in ways that compromise your ethical standards. For example, if you record in a setting where others may feel exposed or vulnerable, don't assume filming is harmless. Okay, so in this situation with children, you just should assume that they feel exposed and vulnerable. Adolescents struggle with a lot of self esteem. Some adolescents don't have social media at all. So I don't think that they would want their faces on social media. And you have to be mindful of that. So think about how the vulnerable might feel exposed when you're recording in a setting that includes other people. That's just common decency. And that goes for the gym too, people. But anyway, check content through the lens of who's watching and who's involved. When creating content, who are the subjects? Are they minors? Are they in position to consent? And then how could it be perceived? Slang, joking, comments, tone, could they land as insensitive or exploitive? Could the video be used in ways that you did not intend? Okay. You need to do a quick check. She should have been thinking to herself, what if my parents or the institution saw this? That, I mean, the parents part, that really puts me in check every single time. My parents, my husband, my son, if they see this, would they be proud? Would they be embarrassed? Would I bring shame onto them? I'm always thinking of that. And then build boundaries between your creator self and responsible self. Okay. If you're pursuing social media visibly, set rules for yourself. Okay. Time boundaries, role boundaries, audience boundaries, right? Even if my follower count is a goal, I must respect the people in front of my camera all the time, every single time. These aren't just nice to haves, in a viral world. They're protective, you know, all of these boundaries, they're protecting you. They're protecting your future self. They're protecting the you that you don't even know you're going to become. Okay. So remember that everyone makes mistakes. This story isn't about shaming her, it's about learning from her, even though I think it was extremely shameful. Because even if you're not a teacher, the core themes apply: influence, responsibility, boundaries, and visibility. So, to recap all of this, a high visibility incident, yes, it's a high visibility incident. But what struck me is how deeply human it is, because in this day and age, we just have to face it. People are obsessed with social media. And this was a young professional trying to create filming. You know, she was thinking that this was going to be fun. And then I guess she never put together the weight of the context of what she was actually saying in the setting she was in. So it's a reminder that in any role, parent, teacher, creator, friend, comes with visible responsibilities. And in a modern era of cameras, posting, sharing, those responsibilities get amplified. If you enjoyed this episode of Smell the Roses, please subscribe, share with someone who might benefit, and leave a review. Stay tuned. And as always, take a deep breath, look around, and remember to smell the roses. Bye bye, rosebuds.